Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Vanessa Barnes representing the FSAA, and today we've got a couple of really exciting guests. I'd really like to introduce Jenny Gill, who's the Group Partnerships Manager with the Busy Group. Hey Jenny, how are you?
Good, thank you, Vanessa, and thank you so much for having us today.
You know what? It's such a pleasure, and I'm excited to learn more about the Busy Group. And before we dive into that, I also just want to introduce Jason Scrivener. Hello, Jason. How are you? You're the operations manager for the Busy Group as well.
Yeah, part of the Visibility entity within the group. Great to be here, Vanessa.
Fabulous. So, Jenny, tell us who the Busy Group is and exactly what it is that the business does. I know that you're a not-for-profit, so that's really important to put that out there. But please, the floor's all of yours to be able to give a bit of insight.
Thanks, Vanessa. As you've said, the Busy Group is a not-for-profit organisation. We've been around now for well over 45 years. And for those of you, I always love to share busy. We do get a few little comments here and there about being, you're busy at work, what have you. But busy is actually an acronym, and it stands for Backing Unemployed Southport Youth, which is where our head office is in Southport in Queensland. And it is one that it's where our president of our board of directors, Martin Punch, started the business over 45 years ago out of his garage with two other people, seeing the youth on the streets, the homelessness, all the things that are occurring, and wanting to start a business that would support them and give them, I guess, their supports and training and anything else they need to get themselves off the streets, get them employed, get them trained, educated, whatever it may be. So since those days, we have grown to an organisation that we now are in the states of Queensland, New South Wales, ACT, Victoria and WA at this stage. We have many different programs, all coming from different areas of that space. So, for example, we do have Visibility, which Jason will be speaking about shortly, which deals with our people with disabilities. Under Visibility, we also have what's called an ex-offender contract. So working with people pre-release from correctional centres, and or they may not even have been gone into a correctional centre. They may just have had to pay some parking fines or a speeding ticket and have ended up with a criminal history already. So we work with them to get them back into employment as well. And to be honest, they're one of the most giving and eager kinds of people that just want to be given that second chance, which is what we love. And this is what we're all about. We also have a generalist contract, which helps anyone who's unemployed or long-term unemployed to help get back into work. And one of my other favourites is what's called our Busy Schools. Which you can see in my background. We don't do average, we do awesome. And it's for disengaged youth in years 11 and 12, where we give them the support to go back into, get them re-engaged with learning, with education, so they can get their certificates of education completing year 12. But we also set them up with a pathway, whether it's going into, just into employment, even going into further education, setting them up with, say, a traineeship or apprenticeship or whatever the angle may be. So we're there to support them as well. And the biggest difference is that we keep our class sizes and our schools very small. We don't have any more than 200 students in a school, and we keep our class sizes down. So even for those students that are in those very large mainstream schools that could have 1,500, 2,000 plus kids, and they're just slipping through the system, we supply that support. We have youth workers, we have pathway officers to support them, and probably I could go on and on, so I'll pull myself up there. But with the idea behind the Busy Group is definitely having so many different programs running, supporting people to get back into employment, education, to help get people off the streets. We work with a lot of homelessness, anything that we can do to be that support, and that's where we're at. So thanks, Vanessa.
What an inspirational business. My goodness. And it started from a vision from an entrepreneur that had the foresight to be able to want to help the industry. I think that's fabulous. And congratulations, you certainly are a busy group.
Thank you.
I'm just going to unplug my Alexa, but in the meantime, Jason, I want to introduce you and welcome. So you're Busy Ability.
That's right. Yes.
So you're going to be telling us a little bit about Busy Ability and the services that you offer, because my understanding is that disability isn't something that you can always see. So I'm really interested to dive into this part of the conversation. And Jenny, thank you very much for that introduction. It's wonderful to learn about the Busy Group and what it is that you do. So Jason, please, the floor's all yours. Tell us a little bit about your role and what it is that the Busy Ability does.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Vanessa. So yeah, Jason, my role, as we touched on earlier, is the operations manager looking after our disability employment services program across all of the eastern states and territories in which we operate that Jenny spoke to earlier. In a nutshell, for those who aren't familiar with, what is an actual disability and disability employment service provider, or really at a high level, we provide support for people with injury, illness, or disability to receive assistance, to return to employment. We work closely with our customers to assess where they are at now, and where they would like to be, and from here, formulate a tailored plan to support overcoming any barriers towards employment, and then provide ongoing support once our customers commence employment. Now, of course, to your point before, generally this stigma, in the marketplace or society today is, well, if there's a person who has a disability, they must be wheelchair bound. We must be able to see that. But we know, in reality, especially these days, the heightened of pressure that's happening out there within, society, based on increased education around understanding, the various different types of disabilities that are out there that are hidden. Great awareness and education in society about this in recent years has really come to the forefront. And the majority of the customers, for context that we work with today, they present with primary disabilities relating to mental health, such as depression, anxiety, autism, or an acquired brain injury, just to name a few. And for context, within our program right now, the customers we are working with identify in one of the 147 various disabilities or primary disabilities that they're categorized as across our disability employment services program. And participants with a diagnosed psychological psychiatric disorder, they make up 22% of our caseload, versus those participants with a physical or specific spinal disorder make up 8%. So just for context there, challenging that misconception there that they must have a physical disability. Well, that's 8%. Of the customer base that we're working with so far.
So how does that differ from what NDIS does and the support that they offer?
Definitely. So Disability Employment Service, or DES is the acronym, it's available to people with disabilities to support them as they look for work, whilst NDIS provides multiple types of support, with the difference there being DES is specific to the funding catered towards employment. So, when NDIS funding comes available, that's to help, relevant participants to, provide funding towards daily personal activities, transport to enable them to access, community, social, economic, and daily life activities, or workplace help to allow participant to successfully get or keep employment open or support labour market. That's where we intertwine together between the groups, or other things such as therapeutic supports, including behavioural support, or general help with household tasks to allow the participant to maintain their home environment, and so much more. So whilst the NDIS program, as I said, is focused on the person and their personal circumstances, the differences between us is that we come in and to work with them focusing in on employment and that journey together. And whilst I won't speak to this at too much length, I do know we're in the DES contract as we move forward, that we are looking, and our government are looking at how we can better, build that bridge and collaboration between the two services for the benefit of the individual, which is something I'm really excited for.
That's exciting. It's always nice to know that there's that collaboration opportunity there between what you do and the actual way that people live, I suppose, being the NDIS part. So you mentioned before what some of the disabilities are that you can't see, and you mentioned the wheelchair, obviously, with the disabilities that you can see. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? So if I've got a manufacturing plant and I've got admin, I've got sales, I've got all of these roles across my business, as well as, packing and in the manufacturing plant, what are some of the roles or the employment opportunities that are available for the people that you have within your association?
It really comes down to, we really do provide a tailored service. So, the customers and participants that present to us, they do come from, 20 years they've been working in, say, a physical, warehouse-related environment, and then for whatever reason they've sustained a back injury, which means they can no longer, work within that physical capacity. So, using that as an example, we would say, okay, so Mr. John Smith, whilst we acknowledge that you can't do the physical component of that role anymore, that person does have transferable skills, and they've got a skill set there, they've got a knowledge there that they will be able to still provide that expertise to the relevant, customer from that business. So, some of the things that we would look at for the individual using that example would be, okay, well then, we do have trade mechanic stores or anything that has something related to that particular field where, you won't be required to do any physical components. You'll be able to provide that expertise around, what the parts, for example, are, and just be talking, within a consultancy role, where you're providing that customer service element towards it. But to answer your question, we really do sit down. It all starts at the initial appointment when a customer presents to us. We really seek to understand. And complete a comprehensive assessment with them, develop a work-life plan, which forms a key part that provides our teams with a pathway plan best suited to that individual. Again, as I said, we assess the person's prior working history, the feasibility around whether that remains a viable goal to work towards today. And again, ultimately looking at that transferable or reskilling opportunities to better position that person for employment, in conjunction, ultimately, with understanding labour market trends. We try to bridge the gap between, what can the individual do based on what are some viable opportunities out there in the marketplace today, and then really work towards, creating a really tailored reverse marketing plan to help our customers return to employment. Now, of course, we do have a range of businesses that we work with where we have a repeat relationship with, where we do work with them, where we advocate for our people that we're working with to place them into suitable opportunities. But again, I must emphasise it's really around that tailored service, that was going to see the best long-term outcome for the individual.
And what does a career pathway look like?
Again, it varies on the individual's prior skills, history, experience. I'll use an example of one of our customers that joined our service in February last year. He had been running his own boat building business for 30 odd years. Obviously, as you can imagine, anyone that has a knowledge of that industry, quite physically intensive work that's related to that. Unfortunately, he sustained quite a serious injury, which made him become a quadriplegic and completely changed his life. Talented individual, and obviously, the initial period there was around the adjustment period for him around, well, what does this world look like to me now, understandably? And then, he went through the appropriate support services prior to engaging with our service. And then, again, we sat down with we'll call him Mr. John Smith, where, we realized that this person is actually quite talented, and that, actually, with a bit of workplace modification or, a bit of adjustment to, your typical office setting, we identified that a role within a customer call center type environment was something that was a skill asset for Mr. John Smith, and we supported, obviously, making some functional adjustments to make sure that the accessibility component of him was able to get to work sustainably, and the core thing for that customer was, like, I really want to explore something primarily where I can work from home, and we were able to facilitate our role. And a part of the group, actually, we have a team there with that triages the inbound calls across the different services that we provide, and it made absolute sense to us as a business that Mr. John Smith has the appropriate skill set, being those roles we operate within, taking inbound calls. There's no requirement for you to be in an office setting on the most of times, and the support was there to help make sure that the appropriate adjustments, the appropriate setup within his own place of home, and that today remains a valued key part of our workforce across
Love
the group.
that. That's actually amazing, because it gives them their sense of purpose back after something that's been such a tragic event in their life that, I mean, as you said, it just changes their entire ethos, really. So what sort of support is provided across the journey from the time before the work, in the work, and once they're working? What is the support that you provide?
Yeah, absolutely.
Both for the customer and the employer, right? Like, it's important for both sides, obviously.
Definitely. We provide a vast range of service offerings across the participant's entire journey, whether it's advocating and linking into external support such as accommodation, financial and food services. We also assist in, general resume, cover letter writing, interview preparation workshops. We also provide an access to, our health team, where participants has access to, social workers, psychologists, and the like, depending on their circumstances and need. Our financial assistance includes support in upskilling, so such as obtaining a relevant qualification, ticket to improve their competitiveness within the identified vocational field. Our team also engage with businesses direct to promote and source suitable opportunities where required, and assist, at relevant job interviews is also something that some of our local team members do as well. And then when a customer secures a role and permission is granted, obviously, we will engage the employer to offer cost-neutral wage subsidy, which in most cases is payable over a 6-month period, with the overarching goal here to assist that business and the customer as they settle into that role to offset the percentage of the cost, to allow them to focus in on working with our customers through their initial induction. Now, I touched on this briefly before, but again, if workplace modifications are identified, then we will also then link in with the Jobs Access program to make appropriate adjustments, which can be things including, for example, the installation of a disability compliant toilet, for example, at no cost to either party. So, in addition to this, our teams remain connected with the participant. Generally the cycle is every 2 weeks post-employment, right up until that first year of employment, or to the point where the participant is independent, and all of this and so much more, really, Vanessa.
I love that. So you touched on before with a good news story. I want to know more. Do you have any more good news stories that you want to share?
How much time have you got, Vanessa, is the question. Look, I'll talk to you around, and we've got consent, so I can use his name, Riley. So Riley first came to Visibility in June 2022. He was seeking assistance through the NDIS funded school leaver employment support program. And that program supports young school leavers who live with disability to transition into a career path. Riley, who is diagnosed with autism and an intellectual disability, needed help to gain confidence, interview skills, and guidance to help him in his career quest. So since January 2023, Riley has been supported through our Disability Employment Services program, which was also in conjunction with his NDIS plan and that relevant support coordinator. And through both programs, Riley has gained much support, including confidence boosting, interview skills, assessing his career interest and pathway, social skills, budgeting and finance, and so much more. What we did identify with Riley was, he always had a passion for cars, and with the dream of becoming a mechanical technician, Riley gained a placement as a car detailer at first. So, he really enjoyed this, especially learning more about cars and the different makes and models. It really ignited him further to find work in the auto industry. Through obviously working with our local team, we supported Riley to commence and to complete a Certificate 3 in automotive vocational preparation. And furthermore, assisted him to gain his white card and police checks, all while, the team, the local team at the Visibility Office were marketing him into local employers, within the Murwillumbah, Northern New South Wales area. And it got to the point there where we were able to connect with Murwillumbah Automotive, who perform service and repairs to all vehicle makes and models, including cars, trucks, trailers and caravans. The company, of course, being in the regional, Northern New South Wales town, was a small family-owned business, which seemed perfect for Riley. And after many conversations, email exchanges, and a few interviews to get to know Riley, he secured a paid work trial, which was a huge step forward for Riley. And during the trial, Riley's NDIS support worker Sam was there to support him with anything that he needed. It didn't take long though for Riley to prove he was the right man for the job, because he received a letter of employment on the very first day of the trial, which was a true credit to obviously his passion. So at just 21, Vanessa, Riley is now living his dream. He's employed as a part-time mechanical assistant. He's earning well over the award rate. And some of the words that he said to us was not he'd like to thank the busy family. And he says family because it really feels like a family to him. And at the heart of it, our ethos across the group, and including Visibility, it's around creating that unbounded possibilities for the people in which we work with. And through the partnership with the NDIS, Riley and our Disability Employment Services program, it's proud, and the reason why we can continue to do what we do is to be able to help people out there to sustain such opportunities like this for Riley. So as I said, how much time have you got, Vanessa?
Well, I love that story. Congratulations to Riley. But talk to me as well about the employer. What were the benefits that the employer, has the employer shared any of the feedback with you? Like what boxes did it tick for the employer?
I think it came to the point there, I think especially coming post-COVID for whatever reason, the motivation to get back into, businesses have told us post then it's been hard to find, motivated people wanting to, join their workforce. And what was a refreshing breath of fresh air for this local employer in Murwillumbah was like, we could see that he was passionate, that he wanted to learn. He actually wanted to rock up every day, to have a go, and and based on that pure energy and commitment alone, it was what we can teach him the rest. We can mold him in the way in which we want it to do. Of course, we provided, that cost neutral, wage subsidy component there to, offset some of that cost over that first 6 months period. But when I spoke earlier around the support we provide to the customer, every 2 weeks on average, we also maintain that same frequency with the employer. If that's what the employer needs, is we stay connected with them every 2 weeks or every month. There's a combination of being either face to face or over the phone or a Zoom setting like we're doing today. And that's over that course of once that person is in employment, we stay connected. So after the 26-week mark, so 6 months of employment for say Riley, our local workforce partners who are expertise in providing that ongoing support to our customers and their employers. Their range of support can be ranging from 4 hours of dedicated time per week or more, where they spend time being on the job site where we're relevant and where we're needed, where we can do some basic mediation, or we can work if an employer is saying, well, we're just finding that this particular task for with Riley, for example, is taking a bit more longer than what it's needed. And of course, our workforce partners, where they're skilled to do so, we'll go in there and spend some time on the job with them both to understand what's the gap and to work with them to bridge that hole to make them competent. So Riley remains employed today. Actually celebrates 6 months in employment 2 weeks ago, actually, so far. So it's absolute credit to obviously Riley and his passion for the automotive industry, and that employer, obviously being a small business in Northern New South Wales, as I said, because they we source that opportunity for Riley. We understand the business and where we're given an opportunity to seek to understand the business, their needs, and what they look for in a culture. And if we're able to deliver on what we say we do, which we do, then we've built. When that local business comes to look for additional recruiting, of course they're going to call Visibility. Of course they're going to engage with our local team to say, well, I need this person. What can we do? And then we'll collaborate moving forward. So for us, it's around whilst we've got the customers that come to us, it really is key that we maintain those crucial, vital partnerships with local businesses out there. Because as I said, whilst we've come a long way around trying to remove that stigma within the marketplace around disability, the harsh reality around it today still is that we continue to need to be proactive in educating local businesses around challenging their stigma around this overall. So it's important for us to, in the interest of the people that we work with, that we continue to lead and be the forefront in that particular space. And whilst I won't talk to specific names, and we continue to look at larger partnerships on a broader scale so that we can influence greater people and greater communities as we move forward.
And I think it's such a beautiful cause. Having said that, we have such a skills shortage across our workforce, and this is a solution. And I feel that, prior to COVID, it was possibly maybe something that was maybe vetoed, we're not that interested. But now businesses are opening up their minds at the possibility and looking further forward, because we need workers. And when you get the loyalty that you spoke of, and you get the passion, and they're just not skills that you can just get anywhere. So to have the ability to bring somebody into your workforce that gives and is happy to turn up every day and to provide the level of service to your customers. When I say customers, I mean the business's customers. That's an incredible, it's just an incredible service to be able to offer across the industry, because at the end of the day, not everybody wants to go to university.
Exactly.
And we are becoming a very overeducated society, if you like, which is which is what it is, but we've still got the need where people like to work with their hands, and they like to be able to do the trades and so forth. And I think it's a fabulous segue. So congratulations to the Busy Group for providing such an invaluable service. So when it comes to the webinars, I think it's really important that we do continue these, and that we do use this as an introduction webinar into who the busy group is and the busy disabilities and what it is that you do and how you provide the services. And next time when we come back, it'd be really good to delve deeper into actually using some case studies to be able to showcase exactly how the power of your business provides back to these to what our members could potentially look at using. In the meantime, if our members were wanting to make contact with you, how would they be able to reach out to the busy group or to the busy disabilities?
There's a range of platforms that we encourage your members to reach out to us. Of course, you can access us through our website, or do a quick Google search, or connect with you to connect with us. We're on the social media platforms, or visit one of our local offices. As I said, we're across all of the eastern states and territories in most locations, operating general business hours, not Monday through to Friday. Please reach out to us, and through those, the first point of call would be if you're not connected to or you have a contact within our group, please look us up on the website or connect with me or Jenny on LinkedIn.
Yep,
love to have a conversation.
And we'll put those links into the message that we provide with this webinar, so that they can instantly make contact with you through LinkedIn and so forth. So tell me, if there were some questions that people would be asking you that you feel would be relevant to our members, what could be some potential questions that I could ask that you would feel comfortable answering?
There's really no question I'm not uncomfortable answering. Really, I think the biggest challenge which remains today is the awareness of our programs that we offer, and still today when we connect with businesses for the first time, where we help them to provide their recruitment needs, it's like, well, Jason, I've never knew this existed. And I didn't realize that there's all this amount of support, financial support for businesses who are doing it tough in the current climate. We understand that, but it's around continuing to increase that awareness out there across the country, really, so that we can provide that opportunity. And again, from there, seek to understand the organisation's needs and how we can leverage, in partnership to meet that serves the purpose for all parties involved.
One of the other things I'll just add, Jason, too, is, Vanessa, the other side of it is that if any of your members do have, staff already that they may have a disability, may need some extra support, Jason and the team can step into that as well and actually reach out and maybe provide them some support that they didn't know was available.
Absolutely.
That's a good idea. That's a really nice thought to wrap up today, and to know that it's inbound as well as outbound, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's not just who they're looking to recruit. They could already have somebody. And that's the other side. We find that, as Jason said, employers don't know what they don't know. They may not realise these supports even exist. And we hear that story nearly every single day. So anything that we can do as a group, we do everything pretty much from pre-employment to recruitment, training, traineeships, apprenticeships, and even through to redundancy. Yeah. We can provide that supports to look at getting them reskilled, up training, anything like that as well, if they need to do a restructure or, look at role changes, things like that. So please have them reach out anytime.
So that's really interesting. And I think that could be something we could potentially look at diving into a little bit deeper next time as well, is that in our industry at the moment, we have got a lot of changes within roles. We've got a lot of higher management, if you like, that are starting to have the emerging workforce come in and take over some of those leadership positions, which, as you know, does create a bit of instability across businesses. And I think that even if I was a person that was at the latter end of my career, would that be a source of support that you'd be able to provide? Because I feel that's so necessary.
Yeah. We currently do have another program that relates to that. So we're dealing with older workers that are in exactly that position at the moment. So if they're looking to, you know, move into a different role, need some retraining, it's just having an additional support, or like a mentor or someone that they can actually reach out to and have a chat about where their pathway is. As we know, we're all getting older, but people aren't retiring as young as they used to either. People are wanting to continue to work and have that, I guess, fulfillment in their life of, I still want to give back, I still want to do things. So that's where we could potentially be able to provide some support along those grounds as well.
I think that's really important because, you know, we when you've worked at a certain level for a number of years, and then you decide, like, I'm in a different phase of my life, and I say this because this is kind of where I'm at, but you don't want to work in that high pressured environment any longer.
Exactly.
But when you're going for jobs, they're like, well, you're overqualified and you've got, you know, all the skills that you need to pretty much run the business. Like, what would be, why would you not want to run the business? And like, well, I don't really want to. I just want to come to work and then I just want to go home. It's a different phase of your life. I mean, I find that there's people like that at the moment.
Yeah. I think, Vanessa, what we are realizing is that things are ever changing at the moment. And like you say, people aren't necessarily wanting to stop work, but they don't want those high pressured roles. So it's just, again, for us, it's about educating, talking to employers, talking to our customers, getting them to realize that there's so many more options available to them and how that support can be given. But as this, as you said, is probably the first and hopefully a few more webinars just to provide that education to your members, to your employers, just to see where we can help, or just get them to be thinking a little bit more outside the box while they're in that stage of seeing where their own businesses are going to grow.
Love that. On that note, guys, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to learn more about your business and also understand what the correlation is in terms of where we can collaborate and work together. I think that's really exciting. And I know that our members will get a lot out of this service. So thank you for introducing yourselves to us today.